We're live 7 days a week, 365 days a year, running at a varied time schedule right now, just trying to squeeze it in. I have, admittedly, I know the stuff you guys do not care about, but it's kind of like I've said in the past, it's why you don't see anybody else that owns the company out in front of the camera, because the bigger things get, 15 years in, they've gotten basically unmanageable at this point. The more other stuff that you have going on with the business and more other calls and more other people that you have to speak to and do things with. So it makes my schedule a little tougher to work with. So I could either not do the show, have these guys just do it without me, or let you guys do the show with everybody and do it at varied times. Probably do a little bit of both going forward. So we'll just figure it out as we go. We always do. And, of course, if you can't catch the live show, you can catch the recorded version. Chris, all Celtics last night. What'd you think?
To not try to sound too cliche, the Heat got burned. They just didn't show up, and the Celtics took advantage. We thought for sure that maybe, or at least I
think
thought
that's a pun. I think the
pun. It's still early. I'm still trying to get my motor running upstairs. But like I said, the Heat, I thought there would have been at least a little bit more of a fight. But again, it's a 7-game series. It's why they play the game. And we saw a concerted effort from Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, even with no Marcus Smart. And I think it's going to be an interesting series as it shifts back to Miami. But it's just been a hard series to sort of get the pulse on.
I think we're starting to see exactly what we saw in the Bucks-Celtics series, and that is nobody won 2 games in a row until the very end, and it will come down to Game 6 and Game 7 of this series as to exactly how it goes. Game 6 always has to be an elimination game for one team, and if the team on the verge, grabs the win in 6, then it would take a back-to-back to win Game 7. But we saw it in the last Celtics series against the Bucks. They did not win back-to-back games until 6 and 7. So it's so far it's exactly like the other series. Brian, what did you see last night?
Well, I was happy to see it go easily under the number. That's why I was most cared about it. But I was shocked to see the Celtics beat the Heat down because I thought they'd keep it within the number. I think the series goes 7, and then we should cash our +1.5 bet.
I think that what I saw is like the Heat, and we've seen this from them a few times this season. It's kind of like we won one in Boston, we got the home court back, we're good. It's like we only have X amount in the tank, and we know when we're running on that on full tilt, we could beat anybody in this league. So why kill ourselves? I don't know. Just my take. Anyway, speaking about take, it was all Tampa Bay Lightning. I know they can go suck it, but they certainly took care of business against the Panthers. I think the Panthers next year, if they hold it together, will be a lot better for it. Kind of like when Wayne Gretzky got swept in the Stanley Cup Finals by the Islanders. The defending champs, wiped him out, and then the next year they came back and they won a bunch themselves, right? Bunch of cups after that, but it usually takes one like that. In hockey especially, they taste the defeat and, I don't know, they take it extra hard because you got to shake hands with the other guys after the game and everything. It's kind of that tradition. They do it, and it is a cool tradition in the NHL that they do that. They do the lineup and the handshake after, especially it's a series, ready to kill each other. But we got the New York Rangers hosting the Carolina Hurricane. I don't know what's going on there, but I know the Hurricane are pretty damn good. And then you've got Edmonton up against Calgary. Edmonton win here. They take full control of this series. Chris?
Yeah, I think this Rangers series is sort of the only one I've kind of been able to get a feel for, and that's I kind of like the Rangers here, mainly because the home team between these two teams. We talk about how important home ice is, in the playoffs especially. I personally think it's the most important of all the 4 major sports in terms of a home advantage. You look at what these two teams have done combined in the playoffs so far, 15-2 the home team is. So I think we're getting a great price for the New York Rangers to make this a best of 3 going back to Carolina. I take the New York Rangers there, and I lean towards Edmonton, um, mainly because we've seen the Oilers make the necessary adjustments to sort of hold Calgary down. Now it's up to Calgary to sort of respond in kind, and until we see them shut down players like McDavid and Draisaitl, and even Evander Kane, I don't want any part of the Flames until we see them sort of come to life. So I'll take the Edmonton Oilers in that one.
So looking at the last two games with the Flames and the Oilers, especially the one in Calgary, I mean, last time out they get back to Edmonton and they get the win. I don't think anyone was overly shocked in that one. But the one in Calgary, you think that sent the message that, hey, we're the better team? It's like we're just the better team.
I think it sent a message that
they came from behind in that game. They were losing. Mm-hmm. They battled, and it was a battle. It wasn't like they came out to a 3-0 lead and held on for dear life. They were down 2-0, right? Came back, tied it, and then it was a nip and tuck battle. And when you playoffs, regardless of the sport, the idea is, and playing on the road in just about any sport, even the regular season, is you want to keep it close and give yourself a chance to win at the end. And I think the Oilers did a little bit better than that. They kind of had the lead late, and were able to, fend them off.
Yeah, and I think for the most part, you look at Game 1 as well, where the Flames were up for pretty much all that game, and then all of a sudden, I think the Oilers had tied it at 6 going into the third period. That big game. It was either 6-6 or 6-5, and that was sort of when Calgary realized, wait a sec, we've got a battle on our hands here, and that's when they slammed the door shut. But games 2 and 3, like you said, Edmonton, they came out and it was a lot closer of a game than I think a lot of people would give them credit for. And then the Oilers just really put their foot down and said enough is enough, and just blew past. They were like, it's almost like a horse race where they were like nip and tuck, and then all of a sudden you just had one horse that just surged ahead. And that was the Oilers, and right now they're not looking back. So, I think Edmonton is in a good spot to take a 3-1 lead here at home tonight.
Brian, any thoughts?
Yeah, my thoughts on these two games. I didn't see anything that was a slam dunk winner, but I agree with Chris. I think the Rangers is the way to go. Rangers in Carolina. I think this series goes 7, and the home team holds serve, and you're getting a light price here with the Rangers. I think it's a good pick, and then Edmonton Oilers and Flames might be me picking the Flames just because I like the Flames, but I think it's going to be similar to Game 1. It was 9-6. I think this game's going to be a shootout, and I think in the end the Flames come out on top, but it's just a slight lead.
I like the Hurricane here. I don't know anything about hockey, but from what I can see from what I can see of the way it's been played, I think that they're the better team, and I think getting a little bit of value, getting them on the cheap. Anyways, speaking about cheap, Brian, what are you selling today?
Got back on a winning side yesterday. The only thing cost me a sweep was the San Francisco Giants, but that's how betting is. I got my money shot 3-pack. I got my best bet in the NBA, NHL, and MLB tonight. All 3 best bet winners for $40 at pickdogs.com. Premium picks.
Chris Ruffalo, numero uno on the leaderboard. I don't watch leaderboards, but Brian said it before the show. We had a little bit of a discussion, so I will say it now. Chris Ruffalo, our leader on the leaderboard. Oh, wrong one.
The first one might have been appropriate too, so I don't know at this point, but yeah, there you go. See, no, I appreciate it, but we're going to try to keep it going. Every day's a new day, and today I got my MLB triple play, 3 plays on the board for the MLB that I love, as well as the $15 MLB pickoff play. Got back on track yesterday, hoping to make it back-to-back days here. And also, if you hop on long term, I got some NHL as well, 3-day, 7-day, 30-day, all the way up to a year.
All right. 3-1 for me yesterday as well, and got back to the winning on my $15 big play after Sunday's debacle with the Dodgers. So I've hit 7 of my last 9 on the $15 big play, 9 of my last 11 $15 plays total. Today I got another $15 play. So, yesterday, 2 of the baseball games that I had in my 3-pack, which were not my $15 play, not included, were the type of games that if you're one of those people that, in the first inning, you start sweating it out and it's like, oh, I lost, whatever. It's like you probably were already sending me the email telling me you hate my guts. And then, you would have to write the suck it up email, after that. Because I had 2 of the comeback wins where in the later games I had the Padres knocking off the Brewers and the Arizona Diamondbacks, who came roaring back as well against the Royals, who are one of the 3 worst teams in baseball, as we talked about yesterday.
Anyways. Yeah, I was on the opposite side of those, not premiums, but just leans.
Just on spite alone.
You got me there.
Really had no basis for the pick except for spite.
Romanelli texted me when the Giants gave up 5 runs, I think it was, to the Mets, and he said, "It's over, it's over." I said,
it's all right. I mean, he won 8 games in a row on his $15 runs rundown pick.
He gave it up too easy, though. It's Colorado.
Right. I texted with them as well at around the same time, and I said, well, this is a type of team that can come back, and the Mets are the type of team you can come back against. But then when it went 9, I turned it off. Like,
it's over.
I'm gonna watch this Padres game that I actually have a bet on. Is what I'm gonna do. And
we saw Wheeler have a good game yesterday.
Yep, he pitched well. That was my one loss. So it happens.
He's been strong. You might have to take him out of your crappiest pitchers.
Well, if he can pitch against Tucker Davidson every night, I think he kind of has a little bit of an edge there. But speaking of Tucker Davidson, we got the Pirates against the Rockies. We've got the Rays against the Marlins, and the Reds favored against the Chicago Cubs. Chris, what do you think of these 3?
Yeah, these are 3 that I tried to get in on some early action. On some of them I did, but I like the under 8 in that Chicago Cubs and Cincinnati Reds matchup. As bad as Marcus Stroman and Tyler Mahle's numbers look on the surface, they're both pitching pretty well as of late, and I think this is just going to be a game where the offenses may struggle a little bit. I kept capping this game, and I got it. I kept getting to a score like 3-2 or 4-2. So give me the under 8 in that one. And I was trying to get myself to that under 6.5 in that Miami Tampa Bay game, but when a hockey total is the same as a baseball total, it's maybe a bit too low for me. So I lean towards the under in that one as well.
Brian?
For me, in that grouping of games here, I think the Rays are a strong play here because I'm a big Pablo Lopez guy, but I think they're begging you to take the Marlins here today. McClanahan, I think, has been the Rays' best arm. So for me, I'm going to lay the juice there at Tampa Bay, and then Contreras with the Pittsburgh Pirates in the minors this year after being sent down 2.66 ERA, a 1.19 WHIP, and over 20 in the 3rd inning. So I like the Pirates today at home to get another W.
I'm with Brian on the Rays in this one. I would consider laying the run line as well. Certain teams just never beat the other team, and this is one of those games. The Marlins had about a 25% clip against the Rays, 38-16. I don't know exactly what percentage that is, but it's less than 30. 38-16 in the last 54 against the Marlins. So they've pretty much owned them throughout the years. I'll probably go Rays run line there. I'll go the over in the Rockies-Pirates game, and I like the reverse run line here in Cincinnati with the Cubs and Stroman over Mahle, who has pitched well in his last 2, but I don't know. The Cubs just always seem to get the Reds in Cincinnati. The Reds seem to get the Cubs at Wrigley. Just one of those things, those weird things that only Chris Ruffalo could explain. We go to the Washington Nationals. Josiah Gray on the mound against Walker Buehler. Brian Bitler, oh boy, he's been sinking with that ship all season. Let's have to hear his thoughts on that one. We got the Yankees and the Orioles. I can't tell you how many people criticized it's like in YouTube, they'll block, like if you put really offensive comments, they'll block them, and they'll say, and they won't even show them to you unless you click a separate 3rd button to see the show hidden, whatever. And it's like they were all what a piece of garbage I was for picking the Orioles yesterday against the Yankees in my video and betting against Garrett Cole, which is my favorite pastime. Kind of makes the whole job worth it, right? It makes the whole show and getting up early and staying up late and doing all those things. Betting against Cole kind of makes it worth it, right? And then Braves versus Phillies. Max Fried, slow start again this season, up against Kyle Gibson, who, I don't know, has never really been the same pitcher except for what we saw in Texas last year, up to 2 games before he was traded to the Phillies in what is now known as the Spencer Howard trade. Brian, what do you think of these 3?
I like this grouping of 3. I think the Braves and Phillies, I think it's similar to the Rays and Marlins. I think they'd love to have you on the Phillies, but, Fried, I think, will get stronger as the season goes on. At -160, it's usually out of my comfort zone, but I'll lay it with the Braves here. And then Orioles, Yankees. We got it done with the Orioles run line yesterday. I guess I should have been a man and took the money line.
Like I did.
Like you did. But I think Baltimore is a lot better than we've seen them in the past. So I'll take the +1.5. I think it's a 1-run game. They could knock them off again.
I like the under there. What do you think of the under?
That could be something for a little bit later.
All right, Chris.
I got to be on the other side of that Phillies and Braves game. As much as I don't love Kyle Gibson, the Phillies are hitting left-handers pretty well this season, and the Braves have struggled to hit righties for the better part of the last 10 games. So I think if Gibson can turn in a reasonable outing like he has in his last couple, then I think the Phillies could be in a spot to get the job done there. So I'll take the Phillies at plus money.
You forgot the asterisk on that stat, Chris. Righty's not named Kyle Gibson.
Sorry, I should have put the asterisk next to it. But speaking of plus money, I'm going to take the Baltimore Orioles on the money line. I went +1.5 yesterday, and I think there is some value, especially with Bruce Zimmerman on the mound, who's the Orioles are 2-1 in Zimmerman's starts against the Yankees this year, and I might even go reverse run line with that +310. I think could see a similar result to yesterday. I finished 6-4 Baltimore, so. Yeah, give me the Baltimore Orioles in that one.
Yeah, Jordan Montgomery at -250 odds. All I got to say to that is you've got to be kidding me. Not in my vocabulary. Also, betting against Josiah Gray is just one of the safest bets in town. I don't like the odds here on the Dodgers, obviously, but it's like if you're one of those 8-team parlay people, well, this is a automatic. We go to our next set of games, and in this one, the Twins. Now, people catching on here that the Twins, when they're favored, they better be really favored because the Twins, as favorites, have been unbeatable over the last 3 weeks. Here against the Detroit Tigers, you got the Cardinals. America's first baseman. My prop bet was Paul Goldschmidt home run. That was on the VIP show?
Yeah.
On the VIP show, I gave out Paul Goldschmidt was my home run prop, and man, did he hit a home run of home runs in that game. And then you got the Sox versus the Sox. Ryan, what do you think?
In that grouping of games, Tigers got it done on the run line yesterday. I'm going to take them on the run line today at Brisky. I just don't think Gray's a -250 pitcher for the Twins. Twins have been lights out, but I think this is a 1-run game. It's just a lean. And then the Blue Jays, I'm going to lay the juice. Yesterday, I liked the Cardinals. Today, I'm going Jays. I just think Gausman, much better starting option. I think he gives you 6-7 strong for Toronto. And then another juice game, I'm going to take the Chicago White Sox at Dylan Cease. I just think White Sox need to start racking up wins. They're at home. That Cease is a much better pitcher, so I'll lay the juice.
Chris?
Did we all hit our home run props yesterday? Because I got Jonathan Scope. I don't remember what Brian's
I had Bohm, and Bohm did not hit a home run.
Okay. So 2 out of 3, not bad. And for these grouping games, I like the Toronto Blue Jays as well. I'm not as strong on it, but the price might have scared me a little bit. -150 on the road, but Gausman's been pretty good. That home run streak finally over, so I think now I can worry about just pitching well for the Jays. And Jordan Hicks, he hasn't been getting blown up, but I think he maybe gives up enough here that the Cardinals make it hard to come back from. So I'll lean towards Toronto there, and I like the under 7.5 in the White Sox and Red Sox. I think Cease holds down the Boston Red Sox. And I think Pivetta actually has a semi-capable start here. He hasn't been all that bad. in his last couple starts. That still feels weird for me to say, but it's the truth. And I think we could have a lower scoring game here, under 7.5. Red Sox, White Sox for me in that one.
I thought that Cardinals Blue Jays game yesterday was one of those interesting games where it's like, I had the Cardinals and, I saw all the blown chances that they had early to score runs, and I knew it was going to come back. And then you saw the Springer home run, and it was kind of like, all of a sudden the game's tied, even though the Jays hadn't done anything all game. And then the Jays get to the lead, and it's kind of like, oh, man. And then the Cardinals fight back, and then, they have a chance. They're Nato on third. You don't get them in, and then it's, it was a great game. Two good teams. I don't think today's game is as good. I just don't see it being as good as that game. But, man, neither of these teams are willing to lay down. And I think when you have, teams that are probably postseason teams, going at it like that, those are the type of games you're going to get, And it's like it's baseball and all sports in general are tough. Are tough. It's tough. I think in baseball, at least, it's a little bit more fair. In the NFL, when you see teams, have to play the Jets and other teams are playing, the Ravens, it's kind of not apples to apples. And in baseball, same thing. Can you count, the win over the Tigers or the Phillies or something the same as, beating the Blue Jays or the Cardinals? It's hardly the same animal. But anyways, the White Sox have always owned the Red Sox, and you look for I look for that to happen again here today. I don't love this price on Dylan Cease, that's for sure. I mean, that is a big number for a guy like him.
I try to scare you off of him. Don't be scared. Just jump right on.
I'm never scared. Never scared.
Don't let it scare you off.
Never scared, never worried. When I start worrying, people really start worrying. We go to the next set of games. We got the Astros against the Guardians, the Angels against the Rangers, and the Diamondbacks against the Royals. Chris, what do you think?
I'm gonna go with the Houston Astros on the run line there. Framber Valdez, I think we already said he probably worked up a sweat 3 hours before the game even starts. But I think he can lead the Astros to a win here. I'm not a big Zach Plesac fan, and I think he's probably in a bit of trouble here. I do think it's a bit of a higher scoring game, but I'll lean towards the Houston Astros on the run line there. And I'm going to go with the Arizona Diamondbacks on the run line. I think they got a ton of momentum after really sort of chipping away and just blowing past the Royals yesterday. And John Heasley, he got 2 strikeouts to 7 walks in his 2 starts, and that's not something you want to have going up against the D-backs with their ace on the mound and Zach Gallen, who's been pretty much rock solid to start the year. So I go with D-backs run line in that one.
For me, in that group in the games here, gone are the days that we could get Zach Gallen at a decent price, at least.
Well, not against the Royals, you're not going to.
Not against the Royals. So for me, I'm going to take the -1.5 and Diamondback. Zach Gallen has just been tremendous. I really like that guy. And then Angels and Rangers, this is a high price. And Syndergaard, I think he bounces back off not even getting out of the first inning. But I like Syndergaard and the Angels today. It's a hefty price, but today's a juicy day for me. I'll take the Angels.
I love the over in the Angels-Rangers game. I think when you have Dunning and Syndergaard on the mound in the year of the 6.5, 7 totals out there, which seems to be the prevailing numbers these days in the dead ball era, and you have 2 strong pitchers in a pitcher's ballpark, and you have an 8 on it, well, that's the books begging you to take the under, which means...
Maybe there's something wrong with Syndergaard, maybe.
What could possibly be wrong with
Syndergaard? They know stuff that we don't know. So
after Brian spent an entire year holding vigil for Syndergaard, now he's saying there might be something wrong with him. Last season, he was definitely going to make it back. This season, there's something wrong with him. When he's actually playing, there's something wrong with him when we haven't seen hide nor hair of him.
I tell you, if DeGrom comes back for the Mets, and you got Scherzer in there, and Mets, I could finally get Mets in the World Series. You never know.
Well, it's not finally. The Mets have been to a lot of World Series.
I'm talking about this is the 3rd year in a row I put a futures bet on, so I might actually hit something.
Yeah. Okay. I thought the Guardians over the Astros was one of the sharpest bets on the board yesterday. I did not give it out as a premium, but I did bet it personally. I thought there was a lot of good value on that one. It just made a lot of sense. But I don't know if they're able to repeat it. The Astros have been kind of like another one of those teams that's really struggling to win back-to-back games. You can see they're 27-15, so it's like they're not like in trouble or anything, but they're just having trouble stringing them together. We go to the night slot, and it is the Seattle Mariners up against Oakland. It's San Diego Padres up against the Brew Crew, and the Giants against the Mets. Corbin Burns there for the Brewers. That always means a big price, but only minus 130, 135 here, Brian. What do you think?
I think this is a good opportunity here to take the talented pitchers. Like from Seattle, I'm going to go with George Kirby. He is off a start where he gave up 5 runs, but you compare him to Caprillion. Again, this is another big juice game, minus 160, but I think you lay it with the Seattle Mariners. And then Brewers and Padres. I'm all over Corbin Burns. I think I get some revenge from yesterday's loss. I don't like Blake Snell. I think he stinks. So I think the Brewers tee off on him.
But you don't think there's more to a baseball game than starting pitching?
Well, that's where I start at, starting pitching. No. Corbin Burns, I mean, I think he'll give you 7 strong innings tonight. And Blake Snell, I mean, he's famous for the 3-4 inning start. So
Padres clearly looked like the better team last night. Chris?
Yeah, and I do lean towards the Padres. They've been pretty much rolling since beating up on the Giants over the course of the weekend.
27-14, Padres.
Yeah, we're starting to see the Padres that I think a lot of people, expected to see from the San Diego team when they made all those big signings, and now they're starting to live up to those. So it's good to see, especially if you're a San Diego fan. But yeah, I lean towards the Padres in that one, and I'm gonna take a shot on the Oakland A's. I know it's not always a great idea, but I like George Kirby, but I want to see how he bounces back from the worst start of his career. And even if he has a decent start, he's got to turn it over to a Seattle bullpen that's got a 9.39 ERA in their last 5 games. And I just think Oakland has a shot here. Caprillion, the A's have won his last 2 starts, and I think getting some plus money's worth a shot here, plus 140.
Anyways, yeah, I just think that these night games, just tough stuff. I think the Brewers almost too obvious here with Burns, and it's like the Padres clearly showed last night that once you get past starting pitch and get into the late innings, they are the better team than the Brewers. And we've seen the Brewers go into these kind of like little mini slumps, especially on the West Coast, where in the postseason, which has been their death, right?
So in a 7-game series, you would lean towards taking the Padres if this was the playoffs? I mean, for me, the Brewers got great starting pitching. They got a good, solid bullpen, best closer in baseball. I'm a Brewer guy.
All right. Well, the world needs someone to pay off my bets too. We have, the Giants Mets, I think, is a tough one. I think getting plus money on Bassett here is tough to pass up. Logan Webb has been one of those guys that it's kind of like he gets bailed out, by the bullpen. He's been in a lot of trouble this season. And, we've seen he's one of those guys, starting pitchers, and the Giants always have a guy like this that either pitches really well and has a really bad record, or pitches okay and has a really good record. He's the Vladdy Gutierrez of the San Francisco Giants, is one of Brian's guys there. But I think that this one, very, very tough game. I like the total in that one better. Is an under. But we go to the NBA. Just one game tonight. The Warriors looking to close it out against the Dallas Mavericks. I started doing. We have this thing like where I can gather all of the different, like you guys can see all the data that we have now available with the betting tools, and that's just a fraction. Like what you guys are seeing with the betting tools, just a fraction of what's coming out, right? And I'm not turning this into a betting tools promo. I don't need to. The betting tools speak for themselves. They're freaking awesome. But what I've been doing is I've been gathering all of kind of the trends and everything for these props that we don't show on the prop tools and on the betting tools and all the kind of leftover this, to come up with those prop bets that we give out on the betting tools. We go through 90 to 100 trends for every one of these players. Just for what you see, for what you're presented with, we go through 90 to 100. Like, what about all the other trends? What are all the other things? So what we've done is I've compiled all of those for each of the key players in these games. And I've just created separate articles. So you can go to the article and if you go to NBA at sportschatplace.com and go to props, you can see I created a Steph Curry article and Klay Thompson article and a Luka article. For today's game, there's a couple guys that I left out. For the Celtics Heat, I did just about everybody. But for these, there was a couple guys I left out. It was getting late. I could barely keep my eyes open. I did the best that I could do. So Ruffalo's looking at it. He's giving it a dirty look. Anyways.
Jason Tatum yesterday getting over his points.
Okay.
You were making fun of him yesterday, remember? I was sticking up.
Yeah. Well, we'll see we'll see how many trophies he has at the end of the season.
That's true.
Chris, what do you think here? Do the Mavs hold off the Warriors? Talking to himself. Brian, what do you think?
Darn it, sorry.
Yep. For me in this game, I'm going to take the Golden State Warriors. It's just a lean. We've seen the Warriors really handle Dallas. I think it plays out similar to Tampa Bay and Florida Panthers last night. It's just the Warriors are a playoff-tested team. Why stretch it out another game? They could end it and get ready for the finals.
Chris?
Sorry about that. Yeah, I'm with Brian there. I like the Warriors as well. I think it's been a valiant effort from the Mavericks, but why, like Brian said, why pass up a chance to get yourself rest? You had guys that were injured for a lot of the season, and the rest would certainly do them some good, especially against whoever makes it out of the East. It's going to probably be in a 6 or 7 game war. So I think the Warriors have made the adjustments the Mavericks haven't been able to, and I think the Warriors complete the sweep here.
Yeah, I think that the Warriors close them out here. I don't see how, the Mavericks have kind of fired their best shot at them. And I don't think there's anything bad to be said here about the Mavericks. I think it more says it about the Warriors. I think the Wiggins dunk sums up this entire series. And, they tried to call the offensive foul on that. That was just all that did by calling the offensive foul was gave the opportunity for them to show the replay 78 times from 14 different angles. And every one of them, Luka got posterized. Every single one. I mean, we love Luka, right? I mean, he got just absolutely demolished on that dunk. It was really one of the great playoff dunks that you'll ever see, right? One of the greatest playoff dunks in history. Going forward, 10 years from now, you'll say the words the Wiggins dunk, and everybody will know exactly what you're talking about, right? I mean, it was that good. It was one of the best in-game dunks you'll ever see. I mean, he just demolished him.
Okay, which one was better, the Morant dunk from the second round or the Wiggins dunk?
Wiggins. Oh yeah, that was just ridiculous. Anyways, we move to the parlay section of the show. Brian, you want to go first?
I like going first. I'll take the Golden State Warriors on the money line tonight. I'm going to team them up with the Milwaukee Brewers and the Baltimore Orioles on the run line. Those three.
And I'm going to go with the Baltimore Orioles on the money line, Golden State Warriors on the money line, and the New York Rangers on the money line.
I like the over in the Nationals-Dodgers game. I like the over in the Rangers-Angels game. And I like the under in the Diamondbacks-Royals game. That's all I got to say for myself. Anyways, thanks everyone for joining us. Have a great day. Greg says Wiggins, it's got a top 5 playoff all-time dunk. I think it's number 1, personally. I've seen a lot of great ones, but I mean, that was just unbelievable, man. It was right. It was just great, and it was just the perfect time, right? It was like the timing. It was like Dallas kind of looked like they might come back, right? They might, and it was like, whoa! It was like, whoa! You know, it was like it was in Dallas, and even the fans there, it was like. What are you going to say? There's no comeback for that. Anyways, thanks everyone for joining us. We appreciate each and every one of you. Let's make it a winning day.